It's time for The Pet Show with America's favorite pet expert, Warren Eckstein. Warren is the author of How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want and How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want. He's here to answer all your pet and animal questions. And now, Warren Eckstein.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome once again to The Pet Show. Does your doodle have you dumbfounded? Is your rescued Persian acting a bit paranoid? Are your chihuahuas absolutely driving you crazy? Well, if you love animals, I'm assuming you do, you're listening to The Pet Show, care about wildlife, and want to understand your dog's and cat's behavior as well as they understand yours, maybe you're confused about why your dog or cat is doing something or just want to improve their lifestyle, you know what to do. Stay tuned because once again, right here, right now, it is time for The Pet Show. America's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, and of course, pet lifestyle show. So hop up on my couch. Bring those furry little buddies with you, folks, because it is that time to let the animal analyzing begin. Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show, the place where we absolutely, positively, never a doubt about it, love, adore, and as I stress every single week, respect pets and animals as much as you do. Now, normally I go into a little bit of what I'm going to talk about here. I'm going to do that in a few minutes, but let me just explain. We had a lot of new listeners to the show, and let me explain why The Pet Show, and I'm real excited about this, is absolutely one of the longest running radio shows in radio history. And the reason for that is because it's not my show, it's our show. And from the day I started in New York, 43, 44 years ago, I've always looked at it from that perspective. It's our show. Our goal here on The Pet Show, and my goal and your goal, is to make life better, understand our dogs and cats better than we've ever understood them before, and make life good for them as well as us. You know, I work with a lot of shelters across the country, and every shelter I know of now is pretty much inundated, especially with large breeds of dogs. And the majority of those dogs wind up there not because they pull you down the block, not because they don't sit when you tell them to sit, not because they don't stay when you tell them to stay. Why? Because for the most part, guardians have not taken the time to educate the dogs, and therefore, a lot of the behavioral issues, whether it be not housebroken, or whether it be aggressive behavior, territorial possessiveness, not liking other animals, that's the reason that dogs, and cats for that matter, often wind up at shelters. And it makes me crazy because they're absolutely wonderful dogs. You know, early on in my career, I spent a lot of time absolutely volunteering at least a dozen shelters in New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, even Pennsylvania. And one of the things I tried to do, and one of the things that made me feel good at night, is when a dog that had been turned down by so many people and trainers said nothing you can do with the dog. And I said, well, maybe you're right, nothing you can do, but give me the dog for a few minutes. This is not an ego thing. But I want people to understand that if there are dogs and cats that have issues, they can be resolved. And that's exactly my goal, and has been my goal on this show for a long time. So many letters and emails and texts that I get from listeners say, Warren, thank you for letting us resolve the issue that was driving us crazy. Because our relationship now with our dog or cat, yeah, we love them, but our relationship now with our dog or cat is so much better now that we finally understand why they're doing the things they do. So that's what we do here on this show. We help resolve any issues that you may be having with your dog or cat. Very often those issues are created because we don't understand how to work with or react or deal with certain behaviors our dogs or cats have. That's why this show's been around for as long as it is. And for people asking me my background, you know my background by now. I trained in pretty much every continent in the country, did every type of training from Belgian ring sport training to French ring sport training to Schutzen training to every type of training you can imagine, drug, bomb, whatever. And it gives me the opportunity, not that I'm doing that type of training anymore, but it gives me the opportunity to speak with you on a regular basis every single week and help you understand, not get angry at your dog or cat if they're doing something wrong, but perhaps understand why they're doing it. And if we understand why, we can resolve it. I was doing an interview this week, and someone asked me, Warren, what separates you from the rest of the pack? I didn't like that word pack to begin with, but what separates you? And I think what separates me is this. So many people in my profession focus on resolving an issue that the guardian might be having with their dog or cat. Great. Great to resolve the issue, but the bottom line is the majority of them never take the time to figure out what caused the dog or cat to react that way. What made the dog aggressive towards other dogs? What made the cat stop using the litter box or become aggressive towards another cat in the house? That's what this show is all about. So if you love your animals, if you love your dogs or cats and really want to understand them and make the relationship you have with your dogs or cats the best relationship you probably ever had, talking from someone who woke up this morning with 2 dogs sleeping on my chest. That's what this show is all about. So here's the deal. If you have a question about your dog or cat's behavior, they're jumping, they're humping, they're digging, they're scratching, they're not using their litter box, I will help you resolve that issue. And by the way, every issue we resolve here on the Pet Show is done in a positive way. I'm going to talk a little bit later about adversive training and why I think it's horrible and should never be used. But if you have a question or comment about your dog or cat's behavior, want to brag about a dog or cat you rescued, I love hearing from you guys. Or you just want to talk about the first dog you ever had, or whatever you want to talk about your dog or your cat, remember that your comments to me are going out to tens of thousands of people, and your question or your comment may be the resolution that someone else really needs to help resolve their issues and establish a better relation. So if you have a question or comment about your dog or cat's behavior, just want to brag about a dog or cat and tell me how wonderful your dog or cat is and why it's important to rescue dogs or cats, just a reminder, if you're new to the Pet Show or regular, it doesn't make any difference. Everyone that listens to the Pet Show and gets to talk to me live on the air today will in fact be getting an absolutely fabulous gift for their dog or cat. Why am I that nice a guy that I want to give stuff away all the time? No. The bottom line is many of the gifts I give away, which by the way, they're not biscuits here. Many are worth as much as $50. The reason I give these gifts away is because very often the item I'm giving away could actually be helpful in the resolution of the issue that you're calling me back. So if you have a question or a comment, want to just talk to me about any New Year's resolutions you made for your dogs or cats, and you want to figure out maybe your dog won't let you walk near another dog, he becomes aggressive, great time to give me a call. Just a reminder that everyone that calls into the show and gets to talk to me live today will get a fabulous gift for their dog or cat. And it's New Year's, the week after New Year's. It's the first time I've had to talk to you in the new year, so I got some great stuff to give away. The phone number here at the Pet Show, by the way, if you have a question or a comment, 866-870-KRLA. That's 866-870-KRLA. Or if you're more of a numbers person, that's 866-870-5752, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. As always, plenty of time to answer all of your pet and animal questions. Lots of pretty amazing stuff to give away. 866-870-KRLA. That is the phone number here at the Pet Show. Usually the phones are jamming, but we're just starting. So if you want to call, now's a great time. I know it's hard to get through towards the middle and end, but at the beginning of the show, this is a good time to give me a shout. So here's the deal. I know I've been talking a lot this morning, so bear with me. I had a lot of stuff on my chest I want to get off. I'm going to tell you about a special appearance I have coming up on the 27th of this month in Tarzana. I'm looking forward to that. But let me tell you what I plan to talk about on today's show. Of course, you know by now, is Warren going to get all his topics out? Of course not, because your questions are always my priority. By the way, if you want to watch the show and look at the mug, you can watch me live right now on my YouTube channel, and I'll answer some questions there as well. It's simply youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Not Epstein, Eckstein, Eckstein. youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. All right, so here's what I got coming up on today's show if we have time. You know, studies have now shown that dogs that don't get enough sleep struggle with more behavioral problems, just like you and me. So what can you do to help your dogs sleep better besides singing lullabies? I'll help your dogs get a better night's sleep, and in return, maybe they'll help you get a good night's sleep as well. See, that's the stuff no one talks about. Anyone ever talk to you about why your dog is not behaving well? Maybe he's not getting enough sleep. We're going to talk about that coming up a little bit later. And this study is pretty amazing that it really focuses on the fact that dogs that aren't getting enough shut-eye have more behavioral issues than dogs that get a good night's sleep. Same with people. Also coming up on today's show, have you wondered why your dog likes to hang out by your feet? You sit on the couch, the dog's by your feet. You lie in bed, the dog's by your feet. So does your dog have a foot fetish? I don't think so, but there is a reason for this behavior. I'll explain later on why your dog sleeps by your feet. By the way, I'll give you a hint. This is going to be the question of the day. I want to find out from you guys, where does your dog or cat sleep at night? Where does your dog or cat sleep at night? My guys usually sleep on my side of the bed, and I wind up falling asleep on the dog bed on the floor. So where do your dogs or cats sleep at night? Give me a call. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5757 too. Also coming up on today's show, for my cat people out there, yes, I love cat people. It's a common for cats to groom themselves. Actually, they spend up to 50% of their day grooming themselves. But can your cats excessively groom themselves? Is it more than just keeping clean? Could there be a medical issue? We're going to talk about that as well. Again, the number 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. As I said, plenty of time for your questions and comments. Lots of great stuff to give away. So if your pet is jumping, chewing, scratching, confused about the litter box, not housebroken, doesn't get along with other dogs, believes that if he sees it, he's got to hump it, we will resolve those issues. 866-870-5752. So the question of the day is, where does your dog or cat sleep at night? And why do dogs really prefer sleeping by your feet? And do your cats like sleeping by your feet as well? We're going to talk about that. Plenty of time for your questions. Lots of great stuff to give away. So did anyone make New Year's resolutions for their dogs and cats? Or did you already break them? I made a couple of resolutions for Molly and Willie. I really, really did. I mean, I don't know what else I can do with them. I spend 24 hours, 7 days a week with them when I'm not out there crazy. But I feel, it's like the shoemaker's shoe. Sometimes I can give you advice, and sometimes I got to say, hey, Warren, take your own advice. Every time I walk by Molly and Willie, they could be sleeping, they could be eating, they could be playing, they could be rolling on their back, they could be chewing their toenails. But when I walk by them, the first thing I do is say, I love you guys. You are so good and make me feel so good. I give them that positive constantly. Now, you may say, Warren, do you think they really understand what you're saying? Dogs and cats are so amazing in terms of detecting tone of voice. It makes all the difference in the world. So they know it. And if more people spent time telling their dogs and cats how good they were, and less time telling their dogs, oh, why'd you do this? Why'd you pee on the floor? Why'd you chew this? Why'd you pull me down the block? If you spend more time on the positive, doesn't it make sense that the dog would like more praise than correction? Of course it makes a lot of sense. But the problem is, a lot of trainers, and I'm not knocking trainers, and maybe I'm knocking a few of them, but very often they focus on, how do I stop the problem? And any good behaviorist, whether it be an animal behaviorist or a human behaviorist, will tell you the only way to resolve an issue with a dog, a cat, or a human being is to get to the cause of the issue. And if you get to the cause, it makes the issue a lot easier to resolve. A prime example, not that long ago, I got a call. There was a dog that was aggressive towards a lot of different people. And I spoke to the people, and I said, why is the dog aggressive? And they said, well, it seems to be aggressive, really aggressive towards men. Okay, so what does that trigger in my mind? Maybe the dog was abused by men. So I said, let's go a little bit further. Most men or only certain men? Well, men with deep voices, men that have beards and wear hats. So what does that tell me? That tells me that's what the dog was either abused by, and therefore we have to now count the condition and desensitize the dog to realize that men with beards that wear hats and have deep voices are pretty cool guys. And that's what we're going to do, and that dog's going to come out fine. Let me take a quick break before Alex throws something at me. Jason, I'll get to your call. The phones are wide open. Great time to call me, 866-870-KRLA. I got hugs and kisses to give away. I have Arthrosuit Gold for your dog's hips and joints, copies of my best-selling books, a lot of Lucy pet food, all natural herbal flea spray, T-shirts, lots of great products from Nature Vet, and those air horns as well. So everyone that calls into the show gets to talk to me live on the air today. Will, in fact, get a fabulous gift for their dog or cat. Again, the phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me toss this out at you guys as well, because I'm going to do a story later on aversive training. Anybody out there use the citronella collar? Anybody out there using a prong collar? Anyone out there using an e-collar? Give me a call. I want to hear from you. I'm not going to argue with it. I just want to hear why you're using it and what type of response you're getting. And if you think that was the reason you're getting that response is because you were using one of those methods. Love to hear from you guys, trainers, behaviorists included. Phone number 866-870-5752. 866-870-5752. Quick break, then I'll get to some of your calls. We'll answer all of your questions. But right now, I want to tell you about Lucy. They're all top cats here on the Pet Show. Great time to give me a call. The question of the day, I'd love to hear from you guys. Where does your dog or cat sleep at night? Do they sleep in their own bed? Do they sleep on your bed? Do they sleep on top of your head? Where does your dog or cat sleep at night? I'd love to hear from you. If you give me a call and we talk, I will send a fabulous gift. Don't get excited. It's not for you. It's for that beautiful dog or cat. So I want to find out from people, where are your dogs or cats sleeping? Because coming up a little bit later, I am specifically going to talk about this. This is an interesting study that it says dogs, and I'm assuming cats the same way, but I think it's more of a dog situation, that dogs don't get enough sleep, have a lot more behavioral problems than dogs that do. See, that's what I was talking about earlier. Basically, as a behaviorist, that would be my job, to go into the house, and if the dog is not behaving properly, asking questions like, well, where does the dog sleep at night? How much sleep does the dog get? Is he a sound sleeper? Does he have nightmares at night? Does he dream happy? Those are the things that you need to know to resolve issues. 866-870-5752. Let me take a phone call right now. Let me go to my friend Jason in La Quinta. Hey, Jason, welcome to the Pet Show.
Happy New Year, Warren.
And Happy New Year back at you, Jason.
Warren, I have an example of too much positive reinforcement. I've created a 16-pound multi-poo monster that runs the house. She tells me when to eat, when to go to sleep, when to wake up, when to feed her, when to go out. I don't need a watch.
Yeah, it sounds like the perfect relationship to me.
Well, I think it does to her as well.
Well, there you go. So in other words, when you say the dog is running your life, I mean, I'm kind of detecting from your voice a little bit that, yeah, maybe she is, but you're kind of enjoying it at the same time?
Not as much anymore.
What's the biggest concern you have?
I went too far.
What's the biggest concern? What's your dog's name?
Ginger.
Ginger. And what is Ginger? Name me one to two things that Ginger does that absolutely make Jason go nuts.
Well, she's developing new habits. She's showing signs of aggression towards other dogs that she never did before.
And talk to me about this aggression. Where does it take place? When does it take place? Is it always on a leash?
Always on a leash. And when we're walking in the neighborhood, out for one of our many walks a day, or today at the grocery store, because I take her just about everywhere. She came with separation anxiety, and although it's greatly improved, she still gets to go most places. We're in a store, and she behaves very, very well until a woman walked by with her dog. There was no reason for her, Ginger, to lunge and bark at the dog.
How do you know? Well, no. How do you know there was no reason? Are you interpreting the reaction? No. But are you interpreting the reaction of the other dog that may have provoked your dog to react that way? Because now we have a dog. How old is Ginger now?
Well, not sure. She's a rescue. A couple of vets think she's somewhere between 10 and 12, maybe.
Okay, so listen,
14.
she's a senior dog. And just like with people, sometimes as we get older, we get a little grumpier. It's perfectly normal. However, what did you do when her reaction was that? When she got a little bit assertive with that other dog, I bet you said, no, knock it off, bad dog phooey, Ginger. What did you do?
No, what I do is I put my hand in front of her and say no.
And what does that resolve?
It stops her.
At that moment, but it doesn't stop her from doing it again. Here's what I'm going to recommend that you do. I'm going to recommend that what you do with Ginger, and I love Ginger already because I love the fact that Ginger has you wrapped around her finger. I just adore that, Jason. It's important. A couple of things are really important. You've created, and you say that yourself, you admit it, you've created Ginger.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so now it's up to you.
I did it.
It's up to you to step up. What I would do with Ginger right now is I would do a lot more socializing. I would take her to a lot more different areas. Sometimes, even though you take her to a lot of different places, I'm sure it's pretty similar places. Get her out a little bit more. And when she shows aggressive behavior towards another dog, what I would do is just kind of give her like a little lesson there, a little, sit, stay, whatever, just to establish some positive authority at that point. Because when you correct her, you're responding to, in other words, you're telling her no. It would be like if two boys were fighting, okay, or getting with an argument, and then my father came out and said, "Warren, it's your fault," and pulled me away. He has no idea if the other dog provoked me, but he's pulling me, or the other person, he's pulling me away. That's what went on here. You need to build up your dog's confidence a little bit, and the fact that she's 10 years old, they do get a little grumpier sometimes when they get older, a little bit more exposure, a little bit more socializing, and don't overreact. I think you're overreacting to her behavior.
And let me answer your other question about where she sleeps.
Yeah.
Because she's got 3 beds. She sleeps where she wants to sleep, and it's usually on my bed.
So have you ever slept in one of her beds?
Say it again?
Have you ever slept in one of her beds?
No.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. Let me tell you a story.
She hasn't given me permission.
Let me tell you a story. This is a true story. It happened many, many years ago. I was working with an elderly man in Brooklyn, New York. I am from the East Coast. You'd never know by my accent, though. And the guy had a problem. In other words, what would happen is he could not fall asleep because the dog would constantly sleep on top of him in his bed. So I said, you know what we're going to do? Here's what sometimes I do the show a little tongue-in-cheek. Really, I do. So I said to the guy, here's what I recommend. Go out and get the dog a bed of her own. Put the bed on the floor or on your bed, I don't care. And I want you for a night or two just to kind of make believe that you're sleeping in her bed. And he called me like a week later and said it's not working. All I can think about is this old guy sleeping in the dog's bed, and the dog, happy as a lark, sleeping with these pillows in the guy. I said this to the guy tongue-in-cheek. I ultimately resolved the problem for him. But you need to understand the whys and the whys. I think you have a great dog. I think what you've done is you've created a Ginger, and now you have to take that creation that you made and kind of bring it down a little bit at a time. No overcorrections. Distraction therapy is what I'm going to recommend that you do.
Well, that's the information I was looking for.
Well, so Jason, let me ask you. In other words, if I were to say to you, who is your best friend in the whole wide world? Would it be someone who walks upright, or would it be Ginger?
Two-legged or four-legged?
I said standing upright or not. Which one's going to be your best friend?
That's got to be four-legged.
There you
Always.
go. No doubt about it. So
they don't have no pretenses. They just give you 100% all the time.
That's exactly right. There's no facade with dogs. They don't buy you a martini and walk out and call you an SOB. If they don't like you, you don't get the drink first. Hey, Jason, don't go in. I'm going to put you on hold, and I am going to send Jason some Lucy pet food for Ginger. Hey, great time to give me a call. I got some open lines. Pretty rare here on the Pet Show. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me take a break. We're going to get to some real important information. I really want to go through this thing about sleep. People don't realize that dogs that are not sleeping enough really have issues. I want to check that out with you a little bit. But right now, I want to tell you about my friends over at Nature. And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. That phone number is 866-870-KRLA. Having a little trouble with the phone line, so you can keep trying. You will get through. But if you want to go to the YouTube channel until they get these phones fixed, I'll take some questions on YouTube as well. Just go to youtube.com/Warren Eckstein, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. I'll take some questions there until they get these phones working right. Right now, let me talk to you a little bit about something called absence suspension. Does that term mean anything to anyone? Absence suspension. While we're waiting for the phones, let me explain, because that's an important subject. How often do you guys listen to the show and hear people call about separation anxiety or their dog has abandonment issues? I want to talk to you for a moment or two about absence suspension. We do have an open line, so if you want to call me, it's 866-870-KRLA. I think that line's working, 866-870-5752. So here's the deal. Absence suspension, and this is something I wrote this week, so if you're on YouTube, you can see me. I'm reading it from a page I wrote. Absence suspension means never leaving your dog alone for longer than they can handle it. This is done at the beginning of separation anxiety treatment for a few reasons. A lot of people talk about separation anxiety, but I want to give you the ultimate resolution. It prevents your dog's anxiety symptoms from happening in the first place. You don't want to leave him. You want to come back before that anxiety starts. This is the beginning. You know, your dog's brain and body are getting a much-needed reset. When anxiety spikes, stress hormones are being released and flooding their brain. If they're not left alone, this gives your dog's body time to return to a normal and calmer state. And little by little, they get over it. Now, this is important, and no one really talks about this. What is a dog's threshold? Threshold is a term used in dog behavior to mean the level at which a dog can cope with a specific stimulus. For example, one dog's threshold for being alone might be 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, the dog exhibits separation anxiety symptoms. Staying under threshold means that the dog is not left alone longer than 5 minutes when you're treating the problem. And little by little, if you use the tool that I just gave you, you'll find that your dog will come around. The problem is not to let the dog freak out at the beginning. And I know what you're saying, Warren. How can I do that? I got jobs, I got places to go. But if you have a dog with severe separation anxiety, you need to take these steps at the beginning to resolve it. Get, that absence suspension, that threshold. Do people really take the time? I would always do that. I remember when I was doing a lot of training. I'm talking a lot because the phones aren't working. When I'm doing a lot of training years ago, and I was training all over the place, I would realize that one of the things I had to do was to find out, number one, how long it would be before the dog or the cat reacted to being left by themselves, what the reaction was at the beginning, and how that reaction increased little by little by little by little. And then I could determine what was that dog or cat's threshold. What was it at the point that they weren't comfortable? And then little by little, we would not leave them beyond that point and increase that amount of time until it got to the point where they could be left alone for 6, 7, 8 hours. So there is a way to do it. But the problem is a lot of people get angry and they want to correct the problem. Take the time, figure out what's causing the problem, and move it from there. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. Let me go to, we got one phone line. This is weird for me working with one phone line, but let's go to Chuck in Hollywood. Hey, Chuck in Hollywood, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hey, Warren, how you doing?
I could not be better, Chuck. What's up?
Excellent. Calling about the where do my cats sleep.
Yeah. First of all, how many cats are we talking about?
I just have two.
Oh,
I have
that's a
one
start.
that's coming up on 2 years old and another that's 14.
What are their names?
The eldest is Pyewacket. Yeah, I know. That's you.
No, people, I love you guys because people think I'm strange, but now you guys make me feel normal, so it's okay, guys.
It's a famous witch's cat name. So, and then the youngest is Colette. I named her after my mother. So
that's pretty. What a legacy that is. It's an incredible legacy.
I said if I ever had a daughter, I would name her Colette, and I'm pushing 70 now, so that's probably not going to happen. But anyway, and they rotate. Usually the eldest, Pyewacket, will, I go to bed and they both hop on the bed. I've got a couple of blankets piled up, one for each of them. And Pyewacket will climb in as I sleep on my side and, stretch out next to me with her head on my shoulder, as I rub her belly. And then somewhere during the evening, she'll move to one of the blankets and Colette will take her place, and they rotate sort of back and forth throughout the evening. So that's the ritual.
Well, Chuck, you know what's amazing about that? My two guys, Molly and Willie, my two rescues, they're stealth. I could fall asleep, and I can have Molly's nose right next to my nose. And I'll go to sleep, and I'll wake up an hour later. Molly's where Willie was, and Willie's now has his nose pressed against my... Have no idea when they switched, how they switched, where they switched, what they did, but somehow, I'm telling you, they're stealth. They do it somehow at night, and I never could figure out how they're getting, without waking me up or letting me know, but they constantly switch positions. I think that means, and I think this is a good thing, when you have dogs that change positions or cats that change positions, it's a sign of a very good, positive relationship. I'll give you an example. When I first adopted Molly and Willie, I was watching them very carefully because, Molly, they're brother and sister, but Molly would go after Willie, and then I'd wait 5 minutes, and Willie would go after Molly. Then I realized they're fine. As long as they switch off and on, no one's the aggressive one. And so it's the same thing with the bed. It's just that somehow they know exactly when they change and when they don't change. I don't think that I could fall asleep if I didn't have a dog or cat next to me.
I hope to never find out. So
listen, I've slept with a 1,200-pound pig next to me.
Yeah.
There's something about being next to an animal, and there's also something about just listening to their breath. And what I try to do, my secrets are coming out there. Fix the phones, Alex. I'm not telling all my secrets, will you? One of my secrets is that I try to set my breathing pattern exactly the way the dogs are breathing. So we're breathing at the same time. I think that's kind of my yoga move, but it's always my kind of relaxing at the same time. So yeah, it's amazing to me if we take the time to really get to understand and realize what's good for them. You're a great guardian. You know that, Chuck? You really are, because you just accept the fact that they change. And a 14-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yeah. It took a little while to get them to live in harmony, but now they're buddies. I'm
so glad you said that also. Because, a lot of the calls we get here on the show is a lot of the calls I get on my YouTube channel. By the way, Chuck, you should go to YouTube, some great info there. Is that people have two cats and one cat, and they bring another cat, and the cats don't get along right away, and they bring the other cat back to the shelter or whatever. And they never resolve that issue, so that cat has a hard chance of being adopted into another home with other cats. So it takes time. I mean, in any relationship, everyone starts out a relationship sometimes in a honeymoon period. We get along, we love each other, and then all of a sudden, things kind of go a little bit in a different direction, but then if it's done properly, they come back in, they establish their relationship, who's going where, who's doing this, who eats first, who jumps on the bed first. I think you've done an excellent job. So what have you grown up with cats, or have cats been something that you just acquired as an adult?
I grew up with a cat and a dog and a rabbit and doves and a bunch of things, and then when I finally moved out into an apartment, it was just cats. But I've had cats all of my life.
Yeah. Oh, no, let's rephrase that. The cats have had you all their lives. Hey, Chuck, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of what I want to send you. Let me think of what. Go ahead.
I called last week and got something. So
okay, so you know what? I'm sure you didn't get it yet, but it'll be there. I'll donate something to a local rescue humane society.
That'd be great. Thank you
Chuck,
so much.
try to come out. I'm doing, it's been years and years since I did an appearance, and I love when you guys come out because I can really go into detail and depth about some of the things I can't on the radio. But coming up, and I'm so excited about this because I think it's been 2-3 years. Coming up on Saturday, January 27th, from 9 in the morning to 3. I'm putting in a full day. I'm going to be at Teresa's Country Feed and Pet in Tarzana at their grand opening. It's an amazing grand opening. Now, I'll be there broadcasting both this show, my Radio America, my Armed Forces radio show, WAG More Pets will be there with adoptions. Actually, Lucy Pet will be there with their wave machine. So if you want to bring, I don't know about your cats, but if you want to bring your dogs down, we can teach them the stuff. So it's going to be a great day. Vendors, bounce houses, raffles, all kinds of great stuff. So if you can, I'd love to meet you in person, Chuck. Try to stop down that day. It's on a Saturday, January 27th in Tarzana. If you can make it, come on down. I'd love to meet you. I love to meet the people I talk to on the radio because sometimes you visualize someone when you talk to them, and then when you meet them, it's an entirely different person. All right, Chuck. Listen, Chuck. Give those cats a hug and a kiss. I'm looking forward to talking to you again. Boy, it's hard working with one phone line. My phones are always jammed up. 866-870-KRLA. The phone number 866-870-5752. Still coming up. Anybody out there have a teenage dog? Oh, those teenage dogs! I'm telling you, they are JD's juvenile delinquent. When I was growing up, there was such a thing as a JD card, and if you know me now, you say, "What, mellow Warren, calm Warren?" But I was a bad kid. I was a bad kid. I was always in trouble, always being kicked out of school, but always loved the animals. Didn't get along with people, but always loved. And as a matter of fact, one of the reasons I got kicked out of school was because of animals. All right, let me take a break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you why I got kicked out of Long Island University. L.I. University, C.W. Post College. I got kicked out of that college, and I will tell you why when we come back. We'll continue answering your questions, 866-870-KRLA. But right now, let me tell you about kids. Knock it off. There's no such thing as an ugly dog because in reality, you don't fall in love with the outside. You fall in love with the inside, the heart, the soul of the dog. Hey, the phone number, 866-870-KRLA. You know, if you have a teenage dog, listen to me. Your teenage dog will find it very fun to find ways to annoy you the most and what gets them attention, even its negative attention, and they'll do it over and over again. You know what I'm talking about out there. They also tend to do this with other dogs they live with or meet for play dates. Don't take it personally. In fact, by overreacting to these moments, by giving your dog a lot of attention, you're inadvertently reinforcing that behavior. Don't let them push your buttons, because when they push your buttons and you react, you're reinforcing it. That's where some good basic training comes into. Listen, I love working with teenage dogs, because when you tell them to sit, they look up and say, hey, you're talking to me? But they're amazing, amazing. And this is one of the things I see a lot at the shelters, too. People will, how old is a teenage dog? Under a year old. Up to a year old. And that's why so many younger dogs wind up, I was just talking to somebody at the shelter in Arizona, wind up with these dogs at the shelter because people don't understand. They're like teenage kids. They're going to challenge. And if you're consistent and you set up a program and you work with them, the challenge is easily resolved. But what happens is people react too much, and that negative attention that the dog is receiving actually now becomes that dog support system. 866-870-KRLA, that is the phone number. Don't go anywhere, Barbara. I will get to you. Barbara's in Palm Desert. I just went past you the other day. I was driving through that area. It was pretty windy when I was driving through. 866-870-5752. Let me remind everyone again about the YouTube channel. Go to the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Listen, it's free. On the YouTube channel, every single day, there are new tips coming up. Tips that can help you understand why your dog or cat is doing something. There's long videos there. There's 1-minute pet tips there that I do every single day. And if you want to see some old videos I did when I was doing the Tonight Show or the Letterman Show or Saturday Night Live, they're all there as well. It's a lot of fun. And the Mickey Mouse Club, I was the creature keeper on the Mickey Mouse Club for many, many years. And my Mouseketeers were people like Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, Britney. I can't look at the girls now because I knew them when they were like little teeny girls, but it was an amazing experience. And that was all shot, by the way, at Disney World down in Orlando. I spent way too much time in Orlando. 866-870-5752. Barbara, let me do this. Let me take a break. I'll come back. I'll take your call. Barbara's question to me is, why does her dog go around in circles and begs for food? And I'll tell you why when we come back. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm going to tell that story. I know I brought it up, but Alex reminded me about how I got kicked out of Long Island University. I'll do that if I don't get this hour next. I want to go to Barbara in Palm Desert. Hey, Barbara, welcome to the show.
Hi.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well.
What a beautiful place you live. I drove through Palm Desert the other day. It was just beautiful. It was a little windy, though, but it was beautiful.
Yeah, we had some rain, too.
I know. I hit the rain, too. Listen, if it's going to rain, it's going to rain on my car. Anyway, Barbara, what can I do to help you out today?
Well, I have two things. My dog used to heel when we were walking, and I have a Tibetan Terrier who is about 6 years old, and he pulls on the leash something fierce.
All right, so he wasn't pulling when he was younger, and now he's starting to pull?
Yes.
Any change, any medical changes or anything?
Well, there was for me because I had fallen and I had to go through therapy and I didn't walk him for quite some time.
Okay.
But he's really pulling me all the time.
How old is he?
He's about 6 years old.
Okay, what you need to do is you're going to need to go back to basics, okay? First of all, I'm a big fan of Tibetan Terriers. I worked with them extensively in Europe. Just an amazing, all the Tibetan breeds, the Lhasa Apso, the Tibetan Terrier, the Tibetan Mastiffs, just amazing breeds of dogs, very ancient breeds as well. But see, right now he knew what to do. He was walking properly. Then you were challenged, and now he's going to pulling again. So what often happens is it's not that he's doing it on purpose. He's not saying nah, watch me do, so I'm going to pull Barbara down. He just kind of reverted back to behavior he remembered earlier on when maybe you were a little bit stronger than you are now. So What I would do is if you can't do it yourself, and I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, maybe you can just get a professional trainer to come to the house, a female, I prefer you get a woman trainer, come to the house and work with you and your dog to get the dog back to the situation where he was, because pulling is not the way to go. The other thing I'm going to recommend that you do, many years ago, everyone knows about the no-pull halter nowadays. Well, the no-pull halter was partially developed by myself, a man named Alan Simon, and a pet company called Four Paws, one of the largest in the country. This was done many years ago. Now, there are many companies now that make no-pull halters. What I would recommend, because of your medical situation, is while the dog is being educated or re-educated to walk properly on a leash and harness, I would pick up a no-pull harness. They're available online. It kind of goes under the armpits of the dog and helps prevent them from pulling. So that would be something that it's kind of an instant gratification. It doesn't hurt the dog, but it's instant gratification. And if you can find someone, maybe just for 1 or 2 lessons, to come back in and reestablish that authority, I think you'll be right on track.
All right. The other thing he does is he begs for food all the time, and he goes round and round in circles.
But he gets the food, right?
Yeah.
Well, why would he stop? Listen, if I came home and I annoyed my mother till she gave me an Oreo, why would I stop annoying her? I'll be going around in circles myself. So what I would do is I think it's fine, because when a dog goes around in circles, generally what it means is that they're really, really excited. So he's excited about getting his treat. Don't let it bother you. Just let him go in circles. It's not bothering you. It's not hurting you. If that's his enjoyment and the way he gets his excitement out, let him do it. I think you'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think I already have one of those leashes somewhere.
Harnesses. Yeah. Give it a shot. Let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to put you on hold, and I am going to send you a Tibetan Terrier. I'm going to send you some Orthosil Gold to keep those hips and joints in the best shape ever, on its way to you. 866-870-CARE. We're going to break for the top of the hour. When we come back, we're going to have that one phone line open as well. So I started telling you guys that I grew up on Long Island. Yeah, I did. You'd never know. You all threw up I grew up in Virginia, and I grew up on Long Island, a small town called Oceanside. Horrible student in high school, horrible student. But I did get into college. And I went to Long Island University, CW Post College, which, by the way, the most beautiful campus in America. It was the old CW Post, the Post cereal people. It was their old summer estate. There were stables there. Just an incredible campus. And I thought, this is it. It's only 60 minutes, an hour drive from where I grew up. I had friends that were going there. It's a beautiful campus, beautiful Long Island. I knew the area really, really, really well. I was going there. I was studying human psychology as an undergraduate, and I was having a great time, and I was learning. Then I went to a psychology class. I didn't like what I saw, and I got kicked out. The rest of the story when we come back. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. And if you love animals, want to find out why your dogs and cats behave the way they do, resolve any issues they may be having with you or any issues you may be having with them, jumping, humping, digging, scratching, maybe they're not too social, don't get along with the dog next door, can't take them for a walk, the cat's waking you up in the middle of the night, looks at the litter box and says, no way am I going in there. Get the idea. If you have a question or a comment or just want to share a great story about your dog or cat, great time to give me a call. Just a reminder, everyone who calls the Pet Show today and talks to me live will get a fabulous gift for their dog or cat. Many of the items worth as much as $40 or $50. So it's a great time to give me a call. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA. That's 866-870-5752. We do have one line open because it's the only line we have working today. So if you want to try, now's a great time to give me a call, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get to. By the way, the question of the day, if you want to ask about the question of the day, I'll still send you a great gift. Where does your dog or cat sleep at night? Where does your dog or cat sleep at night? I was joking earlier, we're talking about the concept that Molly and Willie fall asleep one way at night. I can wake up an hour later and they switched. I don't even know it. They have stuff like that. Where do your dogs and cats sleep at night? Give me a call, and I will send you a great gift if we get to talk. 866-870-5752, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through to the Pet Show. Plenty of time for your calls, and as I said, lots of great stuff to give away as well. Now, before we took that break, I guess I was kind of teasing you a little bit. Not really teasing, talking about why I was kicked out of Long Island University. Wasn't because of academia, though that would have probably been another reason. But let me tell you why I was kicked out. Number one, on the campus, they had a stable. Part of education there, well, I guess you took on weekends, you can learn how to ride horses. Fine and dandy. But at the stable, there were literally hundreds and hundreds of what they called barn cats. And these barn cats just kept breeding and breeding and breeding. And I saw the abuse that was going on there. Hurt, fighting, whatever. So what I would do is one or two nights in the evening, I would go to the campus. I learned it pretty well. Not going to tell you. I was with a buddy. We would hop over the stable fence, take some of the cats, put them in cages. I would bring the cats to a friend of mine who was a veterinarian. He would spay and neuter them. I would bring them back and release them back into the environment. No one to know any better. Well, they busted me, folks. Yeah, they busted me. They found out. And that was just one of the reasons. They did just give me a warning for that. You can't do it anymore. You can't spay and neuter. Why? Saving life. No, you can't do that. You can't steal our cats and spay. That was one of the reasons. But that wasn't what kicked me out. Here's what kicked me out. I was taking a course in psychology. And the psychology professor needed more therapy than any human being I ever knew in my life. Anyway, they were doing research on the effects of mescaline on guinea pigs. So they were giving hundreds and hundreds of guinea pigs mescaline to determine what their reaction was. And I said to myself, as far as I know, mescaline has no medicinal purpose. Mescaline is a hallucinogen. If you want to take it, that's fine with me. Go and knock yourself out. However, researching on the guinea pigs, I thought was horrible and abusive and just couldn't take it anymore. So once again, the burglar arose. I broke into the school laboratory at night, and I released, I'm not going to tell you how many, but at least a few zeros at the end of it. And I let all the guinea pigs, all the rats, and all the mice loose on the campus. Just let them go. Let them survive. If they're going to survive, they're going to survive. Better they should survive there than being drugged every day and abused by the psychology teacher there. And they found out that I released all these animals. And there you have it. Warren was no longer at Long Island University at C.W. Post College. They kicked my butt out. Yeah, they did. My mother wasn't thrilled about it, but they did. And you know what? I look back at it and I say to myself, did I do the right thing or did I do the wrong thing? And I've always been that. I know I'm going off in tangents. I'm kind of a believer that no matter what the underdog is, that underdog could be a worm, that underdog could be a guinea pig or a hamster or a cat that needs to be spayed and neutered or a human being. It doesn't make any difference to me. I always felt the need to lift up that underdog, to give them give somebody that's down and out, or something that's down and out, a hand, a helping hand. And so, yeah, I got into a lot of trouble, and there were, criminal charges, a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm here with you guys today talking to you, and I look back and I say, my father wasn't thrilled. My mother was not thrilled. But I talk about this. I had an incredible grandmother. My grandmother escaped Romania during the horrible, horrible times. And she was brought up maybe an hour away not even a couple hours away from Transylvania. But she was an incredible lady. My grandma Molly, which, by the way, one of my dogs is named after. And she was the only person that said, I'm proud of you. In his Vaden, she couldn't say Warren. She could say, Vaden, I'm proud of you. And she would say it to me. And I said, why, Grandma? Why are you proud of me? And she said, when I lived in Romania, I had a white horse. And when the Bolsheviks came in and destroyed everything in our town and killed my mother and father in front of me, I was in the barn. The white horse reared up, and I was able to escape. And that white horse, I believe to this day, saved my life. And then later on in life, my grandmother had a stroke. And I was sitting down. I said, Grandma, and she couldn't, she didn't understand a lot of what I was saying because she had this kind of pretty major stroke. And I looked at her eyes. I said, Grandma, tell me about the white horse. Tell me about the white horse that saved your life from the Bolsheviks. Her eyes lit up. And she told me once again how the horse saved her life. I'm just so it's in my blood, and I think it's in a lot of people's blood and I learned so much from seniors, and that's why to this day when people say, where do you want to hang out? I want to hang out at a senior citizen center. I want to hang out with people that have experienced life. They know the ups, they know the downs, and that's where I want to be. Anyway, that's my story for today. Yeah, I was kicked out. Did that make you think any less of me, guys? Was I bad? I mean, was I guess I did something illegal. Not the first time. Let's go to Tom in Los Angeles. I'm going to jail. Hey, Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, good afternoon, Warren.
So, Tom, did I do the right thing or I do the wrong thing? Was I bad or was I good?
You did the right thing. In the big scale of things, I believe you did the right thing.
Good.
I got to compose myself after that story, man.
That's like one of my stories. There's another story. I never get to tell these stories on the air, but when I took on the New York State Police Department, I took them on and I was threatened by Bubba. That's a story for another week. But God, what's your question, Tom?
We have quite a few cats because we've been rescuing them here in East Los Angeles. And one of our cats, he likes to bully the other ones, especially his sister, and prevent her from using the litter box. Which is funny.
How many cats? How many cats do you have?
Anyway,
give me the number.
10.
Okay. How many litter boxes?
3.
Nah, not enough. Not enough.
Not
enough. The rule of thumb is 1 litter box per cat, but then you'd have to buy a big house, I guess.
Oh my goodness!
At that point,
need a bigger house. For sure.
What I would do is, I would put another couple of litter boxes down, separated from that area. It's not a bullying thing as much as a territorial thing. You could look at it as bullying, but it's kind of a territorial thing. When you say he's bullying her, any fighting or just kind of chasing her out?
No, just kind of chases her around.
Yeah, you need some more litter boxes, and put in another couple of litter boxes down in a different area. Also, with that many cats, they're getting a lot of mental stimulation.
Right. Yes, they are.
Okay, because that's important. I mean, cats love changes in their environment, so changing this and changing that makes. Oh yeah,
we change it up daily, and I play with them constantly. I'm retired, so I have the good fortune of being able to do that.
Have you always been a cat fanatic?
Excuse me?
Have you always been a fanatic about cats? Always loved cats?
Not until recently, a few years. I mean, I've always loved cats, but not to this extent.
Yeah, cats can be addicting. There's no doubt about it. Cats, they should be. Cats should be like a class 1 drug. They are absolutely addicting. There's no doubt in my mind. So ask me, God, how many cats did I have at one time? I have no cats now, but how many cats did I have in my house at one time?
How many did you have?
32.
Woo!
32. And they were all rescued.
Small potatoes.
They were all rescued. They were all feral.
Right.
And it was because of the cats and my 2 pigs that I had to buy a house. I had to buy a farm in upstate New York. And can you imagine the place I lived in upstate New York? Hear me on this. We live in L.A., right? It cost $1 million in L.A. to buy a lean-to. I bought a house in upstate New York, just outside of Albany. 5 acres, a farmhouse, and a barn. for $29,000. Wait.
Wow.
Well, let me
I
go
need to
further.
rethink some things.
The barn was built. The barn was built in 1802, and the house was built in 1802. Which means
Outstanding.
that if I wanted to get water for the dogs, I had to go outside. This is outside of Albany. You get 3 feet of snow and pump one of those old-time pumps you see on Bonanza.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm familiar.
And the guy, you need to get leathers for the pump. The pump, it's just, you know what? Some of the best times I had in my, sometimes the hardest times you have turn out to be the times you remember best. And I do remember this was.
Oh, it ends up being a blessing for sure.
It was. This was a little town, a little small town outside of Albany called Cobleskill. Actually, it was Carlisle. And it was just, I have so many memories of this place. But then again, it gave me the ability. I had 32 cats. I had over 30 dogs, 2 pet pigs, chickens, all rescued animals. All of these, every animal I had there was there because if I didn't take them, they would have been dead. And you know what? I kept that house and I kept all of these animals till the last one was gone. And what I did, and I'm droning on here, so bear me out because we only got one phone working. But here's the deal. What I did was when one of the dogs or the cats or the pig died, I would actually, and I grew up in the auto body. My father was in the auto body business, so I'm handy with tools. I'm kind of like Tim Allen that way. And when the dog or cat would die, I would make their own headstones. I would get a chisel and chisel out their names and put their headstones there. And I haven't been back there in years, but I'm just hoping that the people that ultimately wound up kept that place because there's so many great memories there. So, even when your dog or cat is misbehaving a little bit, think about it. Just think about it. It's not the end of the world. No one's perfect. No, we're not perfect. I'm sure every once in a while, a dog may pee in the house. Every once in a while, a cat's going to get into an argument with another cat. It's just the way it is. You got to let them be. The problem is so many people want perfection from their pets and not themselves, and that doesn't work.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm trying to think what I want to send you for your cats. I can send you. Would you like one? Do you have a copy of my cat book?
No, I don't.
Well, I got to tell you, with all those cats, you need a copy. So don't go in there. I'm going to put you on hold.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
I'm putting you on hold, Tom. The lovely Suzette, and she is lovely. Without Suzette, Alex and I cannot do this show. The lovely Suzette will pick up, and we're going to send you a copy of How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want. So with Tom gone in a few seconds, that's going to leave a phone line open. The phone number, by the way, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me do this. And speaking about cats, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about cats' excessive grooming. So many great things I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about why your cats and dogs hang out. We'll try to get to all that information, 866-870-KRLA. But just remember, if you don't hear it on the show today, if I run out of time, what a shock. You can always join me on my YouTube channel. I know I'm pushing YouTube, but it gives me the opportunity. I'm going to be doing more and more to share with you guys a lot of information every day. And so check out youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Quick break, then right back at you. Once again, I want to tell you guys about Lucy Pet. The other day I was sitting around watching TV, and all these commercials came on. This celebrity And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Some of the phones are working. 866-870-KRLA. That is the phone number. Let me do this, then we'll get right to Gary. We got Debbie calling from Calabasas. We got Gary up there from me. So we got someone calling me. I'm trying to see if I can see this on my screen. Let me just move my microphone. It says a vet recommended aquatherapy. The vet recommended he be put down because her mother-in-law can't provide the cat with the care he needs since her husband passed away. Any recent thoughts? God, it's a tough one. You know what? If you can call me, I can't catch the name here, but if you can call me 866-870-Carol, I'd like to talk to you directly about that because I can help you with that as well. Oh, Brian, if you can call me on the radio, on the phone, 866-870-5752. Keep trying if you can't get to, because I'd like to talk to you directly, specifically about that. But right now, let me go to. You know what? Let me go to Gary in Mar Vista. Hey, Gary, welcome to the show.
First time I've called your show. I just wanted to praise you for what you did with those animals that were being experimented with mescaline on. Because I remember when I was a hippie, I met somebody's place a kitten that had been given LSD, and I could tell that it would never be able to fend for itself. Everything was a wonder to it, and it just wasn't normal functional cat. And I felt sorry for it. I would never give psychedelics to an animal.
It's interesting. Here comes another Warren. See, I never get to tell these stories on the air because my phones are too busy. Here comes another Warren story. Years and years ago, I think I was just back from Southeast Asia, and I was just starting my own training school in New York, and I was at a client's house. I think I was charging $15 to train your dog back then. And I walked into the house, and they had this beautiful, I think it was a blue-headed Amazon. I don't remember. It's a long time ago. Anyway, this beautiful, beautiful parrot. And they were giving the parrot, again, LSD. And the bird would just be squawking and running and running and running and squawking and running and running and running and squawking. And I said to them, what are you doing? And they said, well, we think it's amusing. I said, it's not amusing. As a matter of fact, I'm walking out of here with that bird. And they said, well, it's our bird. I said, it might be your bird, but you're killing the bird. And the bottom line is they let me leave because I was going to report them. So I took the bird, and I had the bird for about, the bird's name was Nunzio. I had the bird for about a year, never was able to do anything. None of the vets I spoke with, no one, even myself, was unable to do anything. But he lived his life out for 2 years, but these people actually killed the bird by giving him all those drugs. And how people can do that is absolutely beyond me. But I appreciate the phone call. Gary, so what type of pets do you have?
Well, I actually don't have any at the moment. I'm more of a dog lover than a cat lover, although I've had cats.
Yeah.
But I don't have the material. I'm not in a material situation where I could really have a.
Well, it's good that you appreciate and I know that. But I really appreciate the call, and I'm glad some people are saying you did the right thing, because I took so much flack for when I did that many years ago.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Scientists like their territory.
They certainly do. But sometimes the heart has to do what the heart has to do. Anyway, Gary, don't go in there. I'm going to put you on hold, Gary. I'm sending you a T-shirt that says "None of my friends walk upright." None of them do. Let me take a quick. I'm not a break. Let me read this, and then I'm going to share. I'm going to Debbie. Oh God, the phones. See, Brian is on the phone. Oh, Brian is on the phone. All right, let me go right to Brian. Then I'll get to you, Debbie. I promise. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Hello, Warren.
Hey, Brian, how you doing? What's up?
Oh, boy. So my mother-in-law, she has a dog. He's an 11-year-old beagle, and he suffered a spinal injury maybe I'd say about a year ago, and he made a miraculous recovery. My father-in-law was around, so he was able to help him out, putting him in a doggy wheelchair. He had to express his bowels and his bladder.
Yeah.
So just the other day, he re-injured his spine somehow. We have no idea how, and the vet is recommending that they put him down. He's kind of on the Green Mile here or whatever, dead man walking.
Yeah, but my question to you
is contemplating putting him down because she doesn't have my father-in-law around to to help her with him. He passed recently, so I just don't want her to make a hasty decision.
Well, let me ask you a question: Is the dog in a lot of pain at this point?
Yeah, she did take him to the vet. He's on some painkillers. He's walking with his feet backwards. So yeah, but I mean,
let me recommend
I'm
this.
Like a hopeful person.
Yeah, let me recommend this, Brian. Not being there, not seeing the dog, I can only speculate. But let me answer this question: If you're a mother-in-law's dog or my dog, and one of the vets said to me, "Listen, you got to put the dog to sleep," but I wasn't so sure. No one's omnipotent. What I would do is I would definitely get a second opinion at this point. Get that second opinion. This way, if the opinion is that, listen, the dog's in pain, euthanasia is the best thing to do at this point, then if your mother-in-law makes that decision, she has a couple of people knowledgeable people saying this is what has to be done. Now, the other vet may say, listen, it's an 11-year-old beagle. I've seen beagles live to be 13, 14, 15, and 16. Maybe a little bit of PT, physical therapy, might be beneficial at this point. Maybe there's other things that we can do. And if she doesn't have your father-in-law around, perhaps maybe she can find someone in the neighborhood for a couple of bucks that can help her out. Very often I find that a lot of vet techs that work at vet hospitals will do private stuff for people at their home. So there are alternatives, but I would definitely at this point, I think a second opinion is absolutely warranted.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. She didn't want to do it, but I'll try to push a little. I'll push a little harder for it.
How long ago did her husband pass? How long ago did her husband pass away?
Oh, geez, it's just like September.
Yeah, so she. Let me just explain something to you. I lost my wife at a very young age. My wife was 38 years old when she passed away, but we were together for 19 years, and I knew her since she was 12 years old. So when Faye passed away back then, I made a lot of decisions that I regret. I wasn't in the right state of mind. I didn't know, you're going through your own grief and you're dealing with the animals. I'm dealing with this. So, you know what? It's really fresh in her head. Get that second opinion. This will at least clear her head a little bit. And give if the vet says, you know what, you don't have to make any decision right now, give her some time to work her own grieving period through this.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Warren.
Brian, but listen,
show, by the way.
And it's snowing yet in Rhode Island?
No, not yet. We're bracing. Tough to even get to a supermarket right now. Everybody's trying to grab all the bread and milk.
One of the greatest. I used to go through Rhode Island. I went to one of my colleges I went to that I didn't get kicked out of was at Ricker College in Houghton, Maine, but that college closed down. What an education I had, by the way, Brian. Hey, don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to send you a T-shirt that says "None of my friends walk up." Right? What a great son-in-law you are to be so concerned. Yeah, Alex, I'm looking at the clock. I know I got to do a commercial. Debbie, don't go anywhere. I want to get to you. I got some great resolutions. Debbie in Calabasas. I do have some open lines. If you want to give me a call, we still got a half hour to go. The phone number. The phones are working. That's what Alex tells me. They're working now. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. I still have some Authors Through Gold to give away, some copies of my book, hemp seed oil, natural flea spray. You just heard me give away T-shirts. I got Lucy Pet to give away, no scoots, lots of great stuff to give away. Great time to call me, 866-870-KRLA. That is the phone number, and we'll be right back at you. Okay, so now I want you to listen to me carefully. And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. That phone number, 866-870-KRLA. Just before we get back to the phones, it's going to be Debbie, then it's going to be Tim, and then Avon. We'll get to your calls, I promise. Cats spend an abnormal amount of time licking themselves. This can be difficult to notice as cats are naturally clean creatures, and they spend up to 50% of their waking hours grooming. By the way, this is the stuff I put on I'm showing it to my YouTube. This is the stuff, that I put on my YouTube channel. Now, the behavior is perfectly normal for cats. There are some cases where it becomes excessive if your cat is grooming themselves too much, that their fur starts to thin out or they develop bald spots. It might be a sign of an underlying medical condition or behavioral issue. Skin disorders, allergies, stress, and boredom are all potential causes of excessive grooming in cats. For example, I just worked with someone not too long ago that moved from one location to another, and all of a sudden the cat that never was an excessive groomer started grooming itself excessively, and it was the stress of moving from one location to another. By the way, if you're moving, I got some great articles about how to move with your pets on my YouTube channel as well. All right, the phones are jamming now. We got the phones working. It's great we did it. Last half hour of the show. Perfect. Let me go right back to the phones now. Let's go to Calabasas, and let's go to Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good.
What's up?
Okay, I can't hear you. I have 3 cats. A male who's the offender and 2 females. The male and one of the females were a bonded pair, and I got them about 4.5 years ago as kittens. And about a year after the one was about a year old, I had to leave for a weekend suddenly because I had to help someone with an injury, and he started peeing on the furniture and elsewhere, and he's been doing it ever since. Now,
did you get angry at him for peeing?
Not at him, no, because I found it when I got home. So
But did you know? But do you understand why he started peeing when you left?
My first guess is separation anxiety.
No. Let me give you the real guess. There's no guessing here. Let me tell you why he's doing it. Cats are really known to mark territory when their guardians are away. It's what we call the Hansel and Gretel syndrome. And I joke about the fact that Hansel and Gretel left breadcrumbs so they could find their way home. What often happens when a cat guardian leaves the house, the cat will mark the territory as a way for that guardian to find its way home, which is a good thing in the cat's mind, and then a bad thing when you come home and you find that the cat had marked the area. So I want you to understand the cat's not doing it because he's having separation anxiety. He's doing it, what he's doing it for is a way of you finding your way back home. So how are you going to resolve this? Number one is you want to clean up all the areas, obviously, where the cat has gone. Number 2 is you never want to make a big deal out of leaving or coming. If you're going somewhere, just go. Cat's smart enough to pick up and astute enough to pick up on the fact that, you know what, she grabbed the key, she grabbed the purse, she's out the door. So just practice going in and out, out the door, in the door. This way the cat will get used to the fact that when you go, you're coming right back. Now, it could be partially a little bit of separation anxiety, but from what you're telling me, it sounds more like his way of marking territory. Now, I noticed from my computer screen, Debbie, that he's peeing in the sink.
Yeah, he pees in the sinks, and sometimes he's done it right in front of me, where I can be standing there.
Well, in the sink, you always notice in the traps in the sink, in the water traps in the sink, there's always some water that stays in there. That water doesn't have a scent that we smell, but it does have a scent that cats can pick up on. And very often a cat will mark that area because there's a strong scent coming from the sink. Or just recently I worked with a cat that would pee in the bathtub. So how do we stop the cat from doing this? You can yell at the cat. You can jump up and down. You can write notes not to do that. But the easy way to stop your cat from doing it is simply leaving a couple of inches of water in the sink when you leave.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, then we can also put some double stick tape in the sink. But right now, it sounds to me like the cat's feeling a little bit insecure when you leave, not so much separated, but insecure. And the way to do that is just to make sure he gets used to going out, coming in, going out, coming in, going out, coming in. That's going to resolve the problem for you, I promise. And you can use an unpeed in sink if you just leave a couple inches of water in the sink, he's not going to go in there and pee. He'll get the idea because that scent won't be there. The scent's there because it's coming up from where the water stays in that, get that YouTube type thing in the bottom. That makes sense to you, Debbie?
Yes, it does.
There you go. So you just have how many cats?
3.
3 cats. Okay. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put you on hold. I am sending you a copy of How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want. There's also a lot of other tips in there for if he starts marking. I noticed you said he was marking on furniture, other areas as well. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. Let me do this. Let me go to Tim in Westchester. Hey, Tim, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi, good afternoon. I really enjoy listening to you. Sometimes I catch the replay on Sundays on this station.
Yeah. By the way, if you're not aware that the KRLA plays the Pet Show Sunday evening at 10 p.m. The whole show at 10 p.m. right here at KRLA.
It beats regular talk radio. I'll tell you that. And for our furry friends, I have a question about toothbrushing. One of our guys just had to have a couple of teeth removed, and he's healed up now from it. And we wanted to get back to toothbrushing, and I wanted to know if you had any particular tips on that between the brush or the finger caught type, and also if you think those chews like Oravet work to help plaque.
Well, yeah, I use my dogs. My dogs get Oravet every single day. I give them the Oravet chews because it helps prevent the bacteria and the calculi from formulating in the first place. So yeah, I'm a big believer in the Oravet chews. Also, in terms of brushing, it's a private thing. So some people, for example, love electric toothbrushes. Other people like the good old regular toothbrushes. So it depends on what the dog's going to feel comfortable with. Some dogs feel comfortable with those finger brushes. Other dogs feel comfortable with those wipes. But if you can get a good doggy brush and you're using good, you have to use toothbrush made specifically for pets. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because regular toothbrush is caustic. It has soap in it. We don't want to do that. So what I would do is I would first maybe just take a little bit of tuna juice, rub it on your finger or put it on one of those finger brushes, and then just use the tuna juice around his mouth so he starts learning what a great flavor that is and how super it is. Then I would start mixing some of the other stuff in it. It's important because 85% of all pets will develop some periodontal or dental disease by the time they're 3 to 5 years old. So brushing teeth is critical. And it's a lot. And the fact that he lost his teeth already, it's important to keep them clean. A lot of people just assume that if the dog has bad teeth, you'll have to pull the teeth or whatever. But, that can generate bacteria, can get into the bloodstream, can cause all kinds of serious issues. So making sure your dog's teeth or your cat's teeth are cleaned on a regular basis is really, really important.
Can
So that's
you recommend a particular toothpaste that you like? I mean, I think we've been using that one that... is it Arm & Hammer? No. It's a pet one. It comes from the pet store, and they have different flavors. We have
any of the name brands that you can get at the pet store would be absolutely fine. Some people don't even use those. Some people just don't use toothpaste. They'll use something else on their, they just use their brush with some warm water and a little bit of baking soda. But dogs are not going to love the flavor of baking soda. So whatever flavor they like, that's the way I would go. Whatever you have to do to brush them, that's what you need to do, Tim. But keep up with it. It's really important.
Thank you, Warren.
Listen, don't go anywhere, Tim. I'm going to put you on hold. And Tim, you know what, Tim? I am going to send you some Lucy pet food. Chewing out Lucy pet food will help keep those teeth clean as well. By the way, every once in a while, no matter how clean you keep your dog's teeth, every once in a while they may have to go in for a good cleaning. Now, my dogs, they're both rescues, so I guess it was about 8 months ago they both went in for a teeth cleaning. I sat out in the parking lot at the vet's office the entire day. Yeah, I waited for them to have the teeth cleaned, and as soon as they were ready, I took them right home. So, yeah, it's important. A lot of people just assume teeth cleaning is an annoyance, but actually it can be a lot more physically dangerous. So keeping the teeth clean is very, very, very important. Phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me take a quick break here. When we come back, we have Avon... Joe, is that my friend Joe? Is that my friend Joe in Palm Desert? I love your question, Joe. Hopefully I'll get to respond to you because I got a great story about it. We also got Jason calling from Santa Clarita. We'll try to get to all your calls. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. Man, it is so cool to be a cat. We are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Let me go down the list. By the way, I'm going to give you the phone number. I know the phones weren't working here for most of the show. So before I get off the air today, I'll give you the phone number for my national show, my Canadian show. It starts right after this at 1 o'clock. I'll give you that phone number, and you can call there, and I'll answer your questions on that show. So the same type of show. I give away the same type of gifts as well. So I'll give you that number in a little bit. But right now, let me get a few more questions here. Let's go to Avon in Arcadia. Hi, Avon. Welcome to the Pet Show.
Oh, hi, Warren. It's actually Yvonne.
Oh, Yvonne. How you doing, Yvonne?
That's okay. Warren, our son has taken a feral kitty cat, from the neighborhood, and they have made her a pet. She comes in every night, but I know that she's old enough now that she has to be spayed. And so what he's fearful of is she's very timid. She darts away with any movement, but she eats there, she's sleeping there at night, but he's afraid to put her in a cage and take her to the vet for neutering.
She's sleeping in the house at night?
Yes, on the bed.
But she's still going outside during the day?
Right.
And the fact that she's not spayed at this point means that she can very easily become pregnant, right?
That's right. I think that I'll bet she's about 8 months, 8 months.
Yeah. What we need to do is we need to get the cat into a carrier, get the cat to the vet, get the cat neutered, bring the cat home. It's a young cat. Start socializing the cat. People assume that feral cats can't live in the feral. I've had many feral cats living in the house. You can adjust them gradually, a little bit at a time. She's probably not using a litter box, so what you can do is take a litter box, put dirt and grass in it to get her assimilated to that. You can bring in the boxes and the bags, all the stuff I talk about on a regular basis. So my feeling is this: number one, having an unspayed cat outside, not a great idea. It's not healthy for the cat. First of all, I would love to say the cat inside all the time. Once she's spayed...
You don't think it'll terrorize her? And
absolutely.
That's what he's afraid of, is that she'll run off.
Well, no. We're going to keep the cat inside. Once we get her back from the vet, she's going to stay inside. We'll gate off an area for her. She'll have all of her toys. She'll have her food, her water. We'll spend a lot of time with her. We won't force ourselves on her. Then she'll start feeling more and more comfortable. But even if, God forbid, the worst scenario, she did get out, at least we're not going to have litters of kittens all over the neighborhood.
That's right.
So I would say do it.
She's definitely a pet, but you don't think they're afraid that it's going to traumatize her and she won't come back once they bring her.
Well, where's she going to go? They're going to keep her in the house.
Okay.
So what they're going to do is they're going to take an outdoor cat and make it an indoor cat. So in other words, she's not going to be, I don't want her to be let outside. Once they get her home from the vet, she's going to be, just for a couple of days, make it interesting, give her all that positive stuff there, and let's keep the cat inside. Because let me give you this, and explain this to them. The average lifespan of an outdoor cat is like 3 to 5 years. The average lifespan of an indoor cat is 14 to 16 years. What do you think they'd prefer?
We just had to put our 17-year-old.
Well, there you go. My point exactly. So let's convert this cat into an indoor cat. Take a little patience. Take a little time. Maybe a glass of wine to calm the people down, not the cat. But that's what they need. Let me do this. Yvonne, I'm going to send you a copy of my book. Can you give it to them and work with them on it? And if they have questions, they can always call me directly.
Yes, I was going to ask you for the Lucy pet food because she seems to love that they are feeding her.
Oh, okay, fine, no problem. I'll send you the Lucy pet food. You can always get the cat book. It's available at my website, thepetshow.com. It's on Amazon as well, so you can get how to get your cat to do what you want. Yeah, so let me do this. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to send you some Lucy pet food for the cat, but I want people to understand. I know what you think. I don't want the cat to, is the cat going to be angry or whatever? Yeah. There were times I couldn't go outside either because it wasn't safe. Yeah, the bottom line is it's way, way too dangerous. There are feral cat colonies, and I so admire TNR people that do it the right way. My heart goes to these people. But very often when you have a situation where it's a single cat or a couple of cats living in an area, and someone can take those cats and convert them from an outdoor cat to an indoor cat, doesn't happen overnight, but it can always be done with patience and time. And once the cat realizes that that indoors are a good place to be. I'm getting 3 square meals a day. I can watch whatever I want to watch on TV. But more important than that, it's up to them. Let them get a copy of the book, because it's up to them to make sure that they make the indoor of their home as interesting as the outdoors. Growing indoor plants that are safe for the cat, the cardboard boxes being changed, the bags being changed. All of these things can make a major, major difference for the cat. So that's where the cat should be. The healthy thing to do is spay or neuter, vaccinate, bring them in the house, and make the conversion. Tell them they can go online. There's some great articles on my YouTube channel also, or the website, thepetshow.com. But I think a copy of the book would be beneficial for them, and they can definitely make that conversion, I promise. 866-870-KRLA. Let me take a break. When we come back, we're going to try to get to Joe and Jason. Joe wants to find out about DNA for animals. I got a great story about that, Joe. And Jason wants to find out about his Siamese cat and why she is not showing him more affection. We'll talk about that. Let me take a quick break here and brag a little bit, because listen, if you Oh, just knock it off. We all know my dog's better than your dog. We're back on the Pet Show. I got a couple of minutes. Let me start out with Joe. And then I'm going to give you the phone number. Let me do that. If I don't get to your call, Jason, here's the phone number for my national Canadian show. Starts at 1 o'clock. You can start calling. Same type of show. I give away the same type of gifts, except it goes all over the country, pretty much all over the world now with Armed Forces Radio as well. So write this number down. Start calling, not before, but at 1 o'clock. Be patient. It goes into D.C. The phone number for that show is 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. Let me go to my friend Joe. Hey, Joe, you with me?
How you doing, Warren? Nice to hear your voice. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Listen, Warren, you absolutely did the right thing.
Well, I appreciate that. But I got like 2 minutes, Joe. What do you want to know about DNA?
All right. About 8 months ago, I got another dog to be a pal for my husky, Bruno. I got Gino from the shelter. Looks like a husky. Somebody gave me a DNA thing to send away for the DNA test. I did. On the back, he have Great Pyrenees. He looks like he has floppy ears. I don't know. What's your view? How do you feel about?
You know, I have mixed emotions. I was a big fan of DNA, but recently a reporter from the Boston Globe, what she did was she took her own sample, her human sample, and sent it to the DNA company. And the DNA company came back and said she was part bulldog, part schnauzer, and part Afghan. This is a true story. This was the Boston Globe. She did that as a test. She sent her. So, but then I have other friends. I just saw them the other night. They did the DNA test on their dog, and they were pretty much on. You can pretty much look at the dog and see what it is. So I guess it can work sometimes, but I'm afraid to send my DNA. I have no idea what I would be when it came out. Hey, you're part beagle, Warren, part schnauzer, part husky, part cat, part dog. Part pig, part chicken. Anyway, Joe, I got to move on, but I think it's a good idea. It's fun for you, and it's kind of good to know. Would I go to the bank with it? I don't think so.
No, I got you, Aaron.
All right, Joe, take care. We'll speak soon. I appreciate the phone call. We are just about out of time. The number for the network show, 877-725-8255. Until next week, give all your pets a big hug and a kiss for you, one between the ears for me. I'm Warren Eckstein, and thank you for listening to The Pet Show.